Nice smile.
All right, we will call the council meeting to order. Everybody stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, take the roll.
Mayor O'Connor.
Here.
Morissette.
Here.
Holmes.
Here.
Knudsen. Here. Kennedy.
Here.
Rook.
Here.
Paul.
Here.
All right, next up is citizen comments. This is your opportunity to talk about anything that affects the city of Hudson that's not on tonight's agenda. Please keep your comments as brief as possible. Try not to repeat other people's comments. And this is for residents, so when you get up, please identify yourself and where you live. Is there anyone that has a comment?
My name is Addison Filiatro. I live in the city of Hudson, and I'm here to say that it was disheartening to see the diversity committee suspended with no concrete plan to review it. It took over a year to get it off the ground, and it may not have gotten off to the greatest start, but it would be my hope that the 4 council members would review their word choice if social justice equity issues aren't really part of our job. If you're looking at affordable housing, well, that is an equity issue. Maybe we were acting when emotions were high. That isn't really relevant, and it's kind of a weird thing to say. And maybe we don't have a problem, we're just creating one. If there was no problem, we wouldn't be a golden rule city that resulted in seeing a problem. It was also disheartening to see the Voices events brought up multiple times by several committee members, but only Councilmember Hall and Brooke have ever attended. Maybe you've seen it on Zoom or whatever, but there's never been any evidence that you've done that. You are leaders in the city, and it does say something when most council members don't show up for diverse events and vote to suspend a new committee on diversity without a plan. I hope that you all look to establish groups that work for equity, because it isn't just about race as it was made out to be. It is about disabilities, religion, sexual orientation, gender, socioeconomic status, age, ethnicity, and race. The charter also mentioned people who work with groups that are diverse as well, not just people who are diverse. And if you choose not to work with groups, okay, fine, whatever, like at this point. But we will continue working without you, but it is a whole lot more efficient when we all work together instead of against each other.
Thanks, Addison. Any other comments?
Good evening, Mayor and Common Council Member. My name is Mary Claire Olson-Potter, President of the Hudson Chamber at 219 2nd Street, and I'm here tonight just to give you a couple updates. So on behalf of the board, thank you, Mayor, for joining our August board meeting. We certainly appreciated that conversation. And also thank you to the council members who have joined our community affairs calls. We've really appreciated that conversation and hearing from you your vision for the city and how we can all work together. I've distributed for you tonight our new lure brochure, which I hope you love as much as we do. So this is a piece that was in the making for something on my list that I wanted for quite a while. And so we are excited to have that available and sent out in all of our tourism packets, and we're working on getting that out to tourism information centers and so forth. And then along with that is Councilmember Morissette's favorite pad map piece that we have updated, which is color-coded. And so we are going through these quickly, and so we are already making some edits and some adjustments because we're already in the need to reprint them. They're so popular. So just a couple updates on numbers. I know we all love numbers. So we've had over 57,000 new web users in 2022 with nearly 150,000 page views. Our largest audience comes from, on the website comes from women that are 35 to 44. We had over 2,080 users come from our spring Google campaign that we worked with Minnesota Monthly with. And then the top pages include discover, events, activities, local attractions, dine and drink and stay. And then our social media also has exceeded over 200,000 followers this year on the Discover Hudson account. So we've had 487 and 32 impressions, which is the number of times a person sees digital account, which can be an advertisement or campaign. We've had over 18,000 engagements, which is how people interact with posts such as likes, comments, and social shares. So we've also had more than 83,000 digital ad views in the month of August through targeted promotions. We did an 8,000 direct mail piece deployed to targeted Minnesota households. The audience was also served digital and social ads, all driving them to the landing page, and these numbers are all outside of our Discover Hudson social accounts. So we're excited to see the numbers and see the progress. We are looking forward to the Spirit of St. Croix Art Festival this weekend, which will feature over 80 artists down in Lakefront Park, along with live entertainment, interactive activities, along with food and beverages. A special thank you to the Public Works Department with Mike, Deb, JJ, and Jeremy for all their help and support. We were already down in the park this morning, and we could not do this event without them. And plans are underway for the much-loved community Hilltop Pumpkin Party on October 15th, and we're excited to have the Rotary Club join us this year. And so they will bring their 69th annual costume parade and contest to this event. So it's a great collaboration. And Have a Hudson Holiday is underway with more details to follow on that. So, as you know, events help to continue to grow the community to be a great place to live, work, and do business. So, on behalf of the Hudson Chamber, thank you so much for your partnership, and I look forward to our continued work together. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Claire. Any other comments?
Hi, all. I'm Liz Melanofi. I live in Hudson. I'm just going to quickly talk about, this is just all factual, I'm going to talk about the Hudson 2040 Comprehensive Plan. I know this came up a little bit during the decision about the Diversity Council. So I'm just going to remind all of you, I know you're probably really well versed in this, but maybe some of the people watching are not. It's on the website. You can find it. It's a comprehensive plan. I'm going to read this part about the plan overview. A comprehensive plan must serve as a long-range guide for local policymakers, and at the same time, it's supposed to provide residents with a clear understanding of a community's goals, concerns, and priorities. Often, comprehensive plans are exhaustive documents that include technical details in planning, engineering, and political lingo and acronyms. Traditional plans, which may be hundreds of pages in length, are undoubtedly less accessible to residents who may find it difficult to parse through dense information to understand the objectives and vision administrators have for their communities. In the interest of increasing transparency with the public, this plan overview has been developed. This document provides an abbreviated summary of the principal findings of the plan and supplements of the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. So I personally was really thankful for this so that I didn't have to parse through dense information and hundreds of pages. But one of the things I found really important was ultimately the 6 planning principles that were arrived at in this comprehensive plan, which include the principles and priorities. Principle 1, strong and authentic small town charm. Principle 2, equitable and inclusive. Principle 3, sustainably meet housing demands. Principle 4, environmentally resilient. Principle 5, leveraging existing assets. Principle 6, connected, safe, and accessible places. Principle 7, economically diverse and vibrant. So all of those things are apparently really important to the people who participated in this plan. I think there are a number of them that we don't look at regularly enough or in-depth enough. And I know one of the things that I heard Randy say at the meeting where you decided to disband the Diversity Council was sample size. He said to Joyce, what was the sample size on that? Maybe implying that it wasn't enough people that participated in this to really qualify as the city of Hudson. And I would beg to differ with that. I think the people who showed up to help create this plan were very invested and care very much about this community. So I think it's really important to look at this in all our decision making. I think we also kind of walk on a slippery slope when we talk about small sample sizes, because the people that are elected in the city are typically elected by maybe a third of the population of their district or the city if that. We have a very small voter base that actually turns out, and we don't dismiss you as representatives because only 200 people voted in your district. So I think we need to really, I mean, it's all right here. It's very simple to look at this and adhere to this. This is what the people of Hudson decided on, and those 6 or 7 principles are something that need to be really referred to practically with every decision. So, thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Any other comments? Welcome back.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Paul.
I had to stop myself from voting when you were asking things at the finance committee. It was like a triggered response. I was, oh, no, I can't vote anymore. Paul Lazio, 1108 Laurel Avenue, and former District 3 representative on City Council. So, dear council members, mayor, city staff, it's good to be back here tonight. It's good to see you guys. I know that your responsibilities as public servants are difficult and they're often thankless. So I want to start by saying thank you to each of you for the work you do for our community. Your leadership is important and it's appreciated. I pray you are always blessed with wisdom as you make important decisions. I'm here tonight to encourage the City Council to continue its work on diversity. I'm aware of the vote last month to suspend was the word I heard on the tape, the Diversity Committee. And having served as a liaison to that committee, I'm also aware that some of the challenges that committee faced. I realized what was going on. So I want to encourage the council to continue to work on the goal of diversity in whatever way you guys think is best. I just think this is too important an issue to walk away from quietly. Diversity is our present, but it's also our future. So we need your leadership to help ensure all feel welcome in Hudson and that all voices are heard. Now, I do acknowledge that this issue is very complicated. I do acknowledge it takes time to build trust with people, and I do acknowledge there's no singular approach that's going to bring resolution to our community. There's no easy fix. So if this means things like revising the charter to make the diversity committee, perhaps broader, maybe having a streamlined application system, maybe providing that committee with some measurable goals, and having some mechanisms to terminate terms for uncooperative members on that committee, I would really encourage you to do that, to look at that charter. This could also mean holding public hearings on the topic of diversity, perhaps to listen to more voices in our community, to get more information, kind of beyond that survey that you guys were talking about last month. I would encourage you to do that as well. If it means perhaps consulting with our local YMCA or other organizations to obtain more training on diversity, perhaps for city staff or other committee members, I would encourage you to do that as well. If this means creating an inclusivity statement or maybe a land acknowledgement statement on our city website, I would encourage you guys to do that as well. But bottom line, I really encourage and trust the council here to work together on this issue. Know that I'm available, so I'm not one to complain about things and then not offer something. So if you guys need support, if you guys need help, I'm here, so reach out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your service to Hudson, and good luck with everything.
Thanks, Paul. Good to see you. Any other comments? Any other comments? Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll close this portion of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a point of personal privilege?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, I want to begin by just saying what an honor and a privilege it has been to serve with you folks here at the table, the ones who served previously, working with city staff, most importantly, representing the community citizens of District 2 in the city of Hudson. So it is with some regret that I am telling you guys that the next meeting of the Common Council, October 3rd, will be my last meeting as District 2 representative for the city of Hudson. It's been a long road for my family, and it's been a longer road this last summer. But we have an opportunity for my son, who is 16 years old. Everett is nearly blind, and that opportunity for us and for him and for our family is in the greater Boston area. So about a week after our next meeting, I will be in a car traveling to Cape Cod and moving out there. So I'll ask council's indulgence at the next meeting to maybe say a few words, not try to get too long in the tooth like Randy does. But thank you. So just wanted to put that out there. So
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. You will be missed here for sure.
thank you.
Thanks. Consent agenda.
Approve the meeting minutes from the August 15th, 2022 regular council meeting. Approve claims in the amount of $1,961,051.99. Approve AEDs purchased for the fire department. Approve Eller Investment Advisor Agreement. Approve the proposed city planner position. Approve a certified survey map 1541 and 1551 Nemacoggin Street, Ogden Engineering. Approve a certified survey map for 2238 and 2240 Nemacoggin Street, Devco Properties LLC. Approve the hiring of Clayton Vick to fill the vacant public work and parks maintenance position. Approve final development plans for Dayton Fright at 3011 Enlow Street, Streams Edge Properties LLC. Approve the conditional use permit and final development plans for Target at 2401 Cooley Road, Kimley Horn. Approve the final development plans for Hudson Physicians Lot 2 development at Hillcrest Drive, Hudson Physicians SC. Approve the final development plans for Kanoki's at 216 and 218 Locust Street, Derrick Building Solutions. Approve the final development plans for Lift Bridge Brewing on Lot 2 of the St. Croix Meadow CSM North. Approve setting a public hearing date to amend Chapter 255-16C1B and Chapter 255, Attachment 2, Table of the Dimensional Requirements.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull that from the consent agenda,
Okay.
please.
Approve Resolution 1622, the 2023 County Library Tax Exemption. Request for additional ARPA funds for the traffic camera installation. Approve the estimate received from Market & Johnson in the amount of $202,686 to replace hail-damaged roofs. Approve the quote from J. Haas Excavating LLC in the amount of $25,525. And approve Resolution 2022 authorizing city staff to submit the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation Community Development Investment Grant application on behalf of Riverfront Properties Incorporated to redevelop 106 Buckeye Street.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item N. Roll call.
Morissette,
Yes.
Alms,
Yes.
Knudsen,
Yes.
Kennedy,
Yes.
Brooke,
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Motion is approved, consent agenda is approved. Item N, approved setting a public hearing date to amend chapter 255-16 sub C, sub 1, sub B, and chapter 255 attachment 2, table of dimensional requirements.
So,
Just one second.
Sure.
No, I wanted to hear from Joy first.
Okay, sure, but thank you, Tiffany. I wanted to discuss this potential hearing because I think it's important that we talk about changes that we might do in zoning for our downtown district particularly. This is being recommended by our community development department, and I appreciate their input and assessment. I was fortunate to be involved in the RFP committee where we chose a consultant group to help us update our zoning. So I think we all agree and we recognize that there needs to be some changes. And I just wanted to talk about it tonight because I feel it's important that our residents know that we're approaching this and thinking about possible changes. Some of the points have been itemized here for us, some bullet points, but I know that more detail will be following, and so that's partly why I just thought it would behoove us to discuss it a little bit as we move forward. If I understand the plan for coming from the development department is that a specific ordinance or zoning change will be presented to Plan Commission first, is that correct?
correct, yep.
So I did have several conversations with Mike Johnson about it, and thank you for being here, Tiffany. I'd love to have your input on what your plans are, what you see going forward with these proposed changes.
Right. So what we're looking to do is update our planned commercial district zoning, specifically PCD2 in the downtown B3 commercial district. Currently, as our zoning code stands, it's pretty restrictive as far as new developments are concerned. So we're looking at some revisions to rear yard setbacks and minimum lot requirements, particular to those of like dwelling units and such. So we really kind of want to hearken to the requirements, or I guess suggestions and things that are highlighted in our comprehensive plan, specifically noting our housing concerns as far as, you know, downtown. We don't exactly have a whole lot of housing down there. So we want to kind of make it more multi-use friendly, as that I know is one of the goals that people really highlighted upon in the comprehensive plan. So I don't know if you guys have any questions in particular to what we're suggesting, but happy to
Rich,
answer.
if I could just add, so part of the way your code is set up currently, I think it was probably fine when it was originally developed for the original development of downtown. But now what you have are a lot of legal non-conforming lots, and particularly, as Tiffany mentioned, for redevelopment purposes, your code, as it exists today, requires any number of different variances for projects to move forward. And what we've heard previously from your Board of Appeals is that they don't quite know what the policy is that the council wants to pursue, which should come through your code and not from exceptions to your code. And so part of this process, now that your downtown, your business district, is predominantly in redevelopment phase of where it's at, is to kind of set that direction, that policy for the future. So rather than projects having to proceed with a number of different variances, you're actually directing how you want properties downtown to develop, how you want to allow flexibility, how you want those uses to come together. And not only is it a better planning tool consistent with the comprehensive plan for the city, but it will also provide a much easier means for those that want to propose projects to be able to look at the code and to understand the requirements without having to both proceed with applications before the Plan Commission and the City Council, and then those variance applications as well.
I understand that, and it does make sense. I mean, I'm definitely not anti-development. And if you do look at the greater Hudson, you know, our footprint that we have, some of, obviously, very prime spots are in our downtown area. I mean, we do have some other lots that can still be developed, but when people look at Hudson, they see some opportunity there. And I think one of the things I want to just move cautiously, because I think the heart of Hudson and its character is in the downtown, that historic feel that we have. And so I think, I certainly want to move carefully forward and get community input on that. So that's partly why I wanted to discuss it tonight, rather than just passing it as a consent item, because I think the more we talk about it and get input from people, so that I agree with you that some of the developers have put quite a bit of money into their project, all their presentations, architecture work, et cetera, before they get to first base, really, here in terms of an approval. So it streamlines things, less phone calls and questions for you. So I'm assuming that from my discussion with Mike, and you can confirm that, Tiffany, that part of it is this is a more urgent need because of people that are approaching us to develop lots in town, rather than waiting, because it's going to be almost a 2-year process.
Correct,
Before
yeah.
we would get a full and complete review done by this outside agency.
Correct.
Consulting group, Cedar Court. Is that correct? Am I understanding that correctly?
Correct, yep.
Okay. So that's why it seems important now, and I think it's an important area, so the more discussion we can have, and the more, input through public hearings, et cetera, the better.
Completely
So-
understand, yep.
Pardon me?
Completely understand.
And just from a process perspective, if you choose to approve this item tonight, You're not approving anything other than moving forward with a public hearing to start the process of gathering that public input.
Right.
I appreciate you pulling this, Councilmember Knutson. I encourage all of us here to make sure, I know our city does a fantastic job alerting people about the public hearings, but I would encourage us to use the platforms we have too, so that we can get as much feedback as possible from the community members. So I think it's great that we're starting this discussion as well, and I know there's going to be some strong feelings on this, and so that would be really helpful to hear from as many folks early on in the process, because I think that sometimes has been a concern that people have mentioned. And so I hope that we can all do our best to alert our community members of this, so we can have a good attendance and really understand, in addition to the guidance that we've gotten in our comprehensive plan, how citizens would like us to respond.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Thanks, Tiffany. A few things that I have. Number one is recognition of the passing of Bill Alm's mother-in-law. And wanted to recognize that, and certainly our condolences and sympathies to you and your family. Also, the passing of former council member Tom McCormick, just about a week ago. And did a great job serving his community here on this council, and is going to be sorely missed by the community, certainly by me, a good friend, but I thought he did a tremendous job here on the council as well. On a more upbeat note, just want to remind everybody of the celebration of Hudson Booyah coming up October 1st, 2 to 6 at White Camp Park. We hope to see everybody there. Anybody else, anything?
I just have one concern, and I had brought it up when we were talking about the 3rd Street Hill. It looks as though it's degrading even worse in the one particular spot, and now there's some wood put there. So I'm thinking that we would need to set some funds aside to address that issue, because the winter's only gonna make it worse. But it looks like it's falling more.
Okay.
So I'm very concerned about that road and falling apart.
I have one comment, and I have spoken with, I'm Chair of the Public Works Committee, and I have spoken with Dean Chamberlain recently and Mike Mraz, that earlier, it's been maybe a month or so, they had a plan to shore it up. I'm not sure if we're like talking prop it up. They were putting in some sort of structure, and I think there is going to be some asphalt put under there. I don't believe that has been done yet, but I agree with you, Randy. It does look like there's a dip that's developing further, so.
Okay, I'll find out, I'll
Hear your
get an
concern.
update back to the council about what the plan is with
I mean,
it.
obviously, we're not gonna be able to fix it in the winter, but
Right.
it's,
Do something more.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll find out what the plan is.
Anybody else?
Just reflecting on the comments that we heard tonight, one of the things I hadn't thought about when we were talking about the diversity committee was a public hearing. And I really do like that idea and find a lot of value in at least opening it up to, not at least, but I think we have a responsibility to open it up to our community members to hear their opinions. So I would like that to be an agenda item for the next one with possible action. So exploring a public hearing on the diversity committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
move to
Motion?
adjourn. Move to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. We stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.